Well, life in the military, it's different for all people, but for me, I enjoyed it. I had a good time while I was in. I did a total of 8 full deployments and a couple partials. Went on a countless number of detachments around the world. Seen places that people only dream about. Some places were some not the greatest in the world, but for the opportunity to get to do these things and get to meet people from all around the world, you just can't beat it. The disadvantage is having a family and being away from them for 6 months at a time. You miss birthdays, anniversaries, births. I've missed 2 of my kids being born. But in some aspects, it makes it even better whenever you do come home, because everything's new. It's a little tough getting used to, but you tend to understand how things operate within the family. It's not expected, you know how it works. When I first moved up to Maine, it's totally different because I'm from Missouri and never left the Midwest until I joined the military, and was stationed pretty much, I went to school in the South, in Tennessee and Florida, and then I was stationed in California for my first 6 years. And it's definitely a big difference between California and Nevada, where my first 8 years of my Navy career was, to be coming to the state of Maine. I showed up here, and my first day of work, it was snowing, and that was in November. But you learn to overcome and adapt it, and I love it up here. That's one of the things I wanted to stay was up there in Maine, and too bad the base isn't going to be here to keep this going, because people won't know what it's like living up here and enjoying the Maine way of life. Now they're going to be stuck in a large city down in Florida.
You could actually go outside and talk to your neighbors. Your neighbors knew exactly what you were going through, what they were going through, so therefore you were like a mini support system.
The P-3 Orion, if no one really knows what it is, it's an ASW aircraft, but it's also a patrol aircraft. It is used for not only hunting submarines, but surface ships. We've used it in, most recently in Iraqi Freedom by helping provide, surface surveillance for the ground forces, so that way they knew where the enemy was, and they're able to, if anything, be able to take, get a little rest and not worry. We were, the P-3s were flying over, making sure that they were protected, and they knew if there was any bad guys in the area. The P-3's been around since the early 1960s. It's been involved in every single aspect of the world, from the blockades of Cuba all the way up to the most recent, to Iraqi Freedom. But here within the next few years, the P-3 is going to be phased out because of the fact of its age. Everything that's old eventually has got to go, and it'll be replaced with either P-8 Poseidon. It's a jet aircraft, it's state of the art, but I prefer the Orion because it's something I spent 23 years working on. I'm very proud to be Chief Petty Officer in the United States Navy. It's a position that takes many years to acquire, and not everybody gets the opportunity to be a chief. You have to be selected from a large group of people to be in that position. It means that they see that you are have the capabilities to take on higher positions and roles, without being told what to do. And it's good to be a role model for the younger people, because that's throughout your military career in the Navy, you look up to your chief, and then when you're the chief, now you're the one that they're looking up to. I believe whenever the base closes, it's going to have a big impact on the local area because of the fact that the loss of jobs, the loss of income into the city and the outlying areas. I don't think anybody really paid attention to the fact of how much the military is influenced in this area whenever they came for the base closure. Not as many people came to show up to rally their support for this base, and now they're crying about the money after the fact, now since they're closing the base down.
It's going to devastate this area. With them gone, businesses are closing up. The schools will not have as many children.
Yeah, some of the disadvantages of the base closing is the loss of jobs. There's a couple hundred jobs on that base that there's no other place for him to go. Like a friend of mine who's losing his job, he's been told that his job ends, in 1 year from now. It makes it very hard for someone to come up there and, want to work, on that base whenever they know that, here in a year they're gone. They don't have another job, and possibilities of not having another job.